The moment the interview began, there was nothing overtly dramatic about the setting. Two rising stars sat side by side, framed by soft lighting and the calm professionalism of a press environment. Yet, beneath that composed surface, something far more intriguing unfolded, something that fans and attentive viewers would later dissect frame by frame. Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei did not need grand gestures or bold declarations to capture attention. Instead, it was the subtlety of their interactions that drew people in. Their body language remained mostly restrained, but their eyes told a story that words carefully avoided. At first glance, their eye contact appeared accidental, almost incidental. A brief glance here, a fleeting look there. But as the interview progressed, a pattern began to emerge, one that felt too consistent to be dismissed as coincidence. There was a moment early on when Tian Xiwei responded to a question about her recent project. As she spoke, Zhang Linghe turned his head slightly toward her, his gaze steady but soft. It wasn't intrusive or overly intense. It was attentive, almost protective in its quiet presence. Tian Xiwei, in turn, seemed aware of this attention. While maintaining her composure, her eyes briefly shifted toward him. The glance lasted no more than a second, yet it carried a certain warmth that contrasted with the formal tone of the interview. What makes these exchanges fascinating is not their frequency, but their timing. The eye contact often occurred during pauses, those unscripted moments when neither of them was speaking. It was in these silences that their connection felt most visible. Observers quickly noticed how Zhang Linghe's expressions subtly changed whenever Tian Xiwei spoke. His posture remained composed, but his eyes softened, and there was a barely noticeable lift at the corners of his lips. It was not a full smile, but something more restrained, as if carefully held back. Tian Xiwei, on the other hand, displayed a different kind of subtlety. Her reactions were quicker, almost instinctive. When their eyes met, she often looked away first, but not abruptly. Instead, there was a gentle delay, suggesting awareness rather than avoidance. This delicate rhythm between looking and looking away created an unspoken dialogue. It was as if they were communicating in a language invisible to everyone else, one that relied entirely on timing, comfort, and mutual understanding. There was also a noticeable contrast in how they engaged with the interviewer versus each other. With the interviewer, their eye contact was direct and professional. But when it came to each other, their gazes carried a different quality, less formal, more personal. At one point, a light-hearted question caused both of them to laugh. In that shared laughter, their eyes met again, and this time the connection lingered just a fraction longer. It was a fleeting moment, but it felt genuine and unguarded. Moments like these are often what fuel fans' speculation. However, what makes this particular interaction compelling is not just the possibility of chemistry, but the authenticity of the micro-expressions involved. Zhang Linghe's gaze rarely lingered too long, which made each instance more noticeable. It suggested a level of self-awareness, as if he was conscious of being observed yet unable to completely hide his reactions. Tian Xiwei's responses, meanwhile, seemed to reflect a balance between professionalism and natural emotion. Her eyes occasionally brightened in response to his attention, adding a layer of sincerity to their interaction. Another interesting detail lies in their synchronization. Several times throughout the interview, they adjusted their posture almost simultaneously. While not directly related to eye contact, this mirrored behavior often indicates a subconscious alignment between individuals. The camera angles played a crucial role in capturing these moments. Close-up shots revealed details that might have otherwise gone unnoticed. The slight narrowing of eyes, the softening of expressions, the almost imperceptible pauses before looking away. In one particularly telling moment, Tian Xiwei hesitated before answering a question. During that pause, Zhang Linghe glanced at her, not with impatience, but with a calm reassurance that seemed to encourage her to continue. She responded smoothly, but the brief exchange beforehand added depth to the interaction. It suggested a level of comfort that goes beyond mere professional acquaintance. What stands out is how these moments never disrupted the flow of the interview. They existed within it, seamlessly integrated, like a quiet undercurrent beneath a steady surface. For viewers, this created an engaging dual narrative. On one level, there was the interview itself, questions, answers, and promotional content. On another level, there was the subtle interplay between two individuals navigating both public and private dynamics. It is also worth noting how restrained their expressions remained overall. Neither of them displayed exaggerated reactions or overly expressive gestures. This restraint made their eye contact more impactful, as it became one of the few channels through which emotion could be conveyed. Zhang Linghe's gaze often carried a sense of attentiveness that bordered on admiration. While this interpretation may vary, the consistency of his focus whenever Tian Xiwei spoke cannot be ignored. Tian Xiwei, meanwhile, seemed to respond with a blend of curiosity and composure. Her glances were less frequent but equally meaningful, often occurring at moments when she appeared most relaxed. The balance between their interactions created a dynamic that felt natural rather than staged. There was no sense of performance in their eye contact, which is perhaps why it resonated so strongly with viewers. In analyzing these moments, it becomes clear that subtlety can often be more powerful than overt expression. The lack of obvious signals invites interpretation, drawing viewers deeper into the interaction. Another layer to consider is the context of the interview itself. As public figures, both Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei are likely aware of how their behavior is perceived. This awareness adds complexity to their interactions, as it suggests a balance between authenticity and control. Despite this, the consistency of their eye contact patterns suggests that at least some of these moments were genuine. The timing, the reactions, and the subtle emotional shifts all point toward a level of natural connection. There is also an element of mutual respect evident in their exchanges. Their eye contact never felt intrusive or overwhelming. Instead, it conveyed attentiveness and acknowledgement. This kind of interaction often reflects a strong professional rapport, but it can also hint at deeper interpersonal chemistry. The distinction between the two is often blurred, especially in public settings. As the interview drew to a close, their interactions became slightly more relaxed. The eye contact remained subtle, but there was a noticeable ease in their expressions, as if the formal pressure had begun to lift. In those final moments, the unspoken dialogue between them felt more apparent than ever. It was not defined by dramatic gestures, but by the quiet consistency of their connection. For viewers, these subtle exchanges offer a fascinating glimpse into the nuances of human interaction. They remind us that communication extends far beyond words, often residing in the smallest of details. Ultimately, the eye contact between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei serves as a compelling example of how much can be conveyed without saying anything at all. It is this quiet complexity that continues to captivate audiences, encouraging them to look closer, analyze deeper, and perhaps see more than what initially meets the eye.